Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm a programmer at KBFG here in Seattle. When I was a kid, I loved making mixtapes from the radio. That was one of my favorite things to do. When we moved to Tennessee, we moved to Memphis, that was my introduction to WEVL in Memphis. So I started volunteering for WEVL behind the scenes. So I was doing like pledge drives and fundraising, community events and stuff like that. When I moved to Seattle, I knew about KEXP. When I moved here, I started volunteering for them. They had a community radio fair at KEXP. And so they had all these low power stations. And that's when I learned about KBFG. I was like, you know what? I was like, let's, what if I were on the air? Back in the day, radio was the way that people found out about new artists, right? And that was a big deal. It was a big deal to be on the radio. Radio stations at that time, were independent, so they had the power. They had a lot of power, to expose people to new artists. And so, I think today radio has changed a lot. There's so many ways for people to discover new music today, right? So you have. I think this massive commercialization of radio, so you have these big conglomerates, where you don't really have that independence anymore. And then kind of on the sidelines, you have the community stations that are have taken up that mantle, right, of really exposing people to new artists. So I would think KEXP is a really great example of that. It's a global, it has a global reach, and they are able to expose fans all around the world to a new artist that's up and coming, right? And that could be a local artist from Seattle. It could be a local artist from just kind of anywhere. And so I think community radio still has an important, role to play for new musicians who are trying to do their thing and just trying to get their work out there. KBFG in particular, I think does a really good job because one of their key focus of that station is local music. What artists can do, they can go to the website and actually upload their content right there. So you can upload songs, it goes into the music library. Large parts of the programming on KBFG are just local music blocks, and so those are just local artists that are being played throughout the day. There's reaching out to the DJs. Louise on KBFG, she has a show called Local with Louise, and so that is the show that's just local artists. At KEXP, they get inundated with a lot of stuff. So reaching out to DJs there, I'd say go for it. My 10 Songs is an hour-long show, and it's, so what I do is I interview people about the 10 songs that have shaped their life. It's storytelling, we hear the songs, in the show, and every single show is different. My guest selection method, I have 3 ways. One of them is referrals, the other is serendipity, and the third one is cold emails to people who I think are interesting. And that's pretty much how that works, So I had, I've had, ran into people on the street, in like random places that have ended up in my show, and those end up being great shows. There's sometimes a little bit of a cool factor thing going on where it's like, okay, I have this band, this is the music that I make, can I really put Justin Bieber in there, Not that anybody's put Justin Bieber in there. They could, but they haven't. But the point is, it's okay. So I started doing the live show. It's called Megan's Vinyl Hour. And it's an ode, to just that, special place in my heart for, stuff from the 60s and 70s, deep cuts. This show is is pretty much for the old stuff. But, you know, this library of vinyl that's happening right now is continuing to grow. So yeah, send in your stuff, because if it's in there and it might be laying around, who knows? Who knows who's going to be doing a live show that wants exactly what you got, and then they might play it on the radio later.